You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. My name is Raquel Walters, and I'm here with the lovely Annie Evans. And before I introduce Annie to you, I just wanted to go into her bio, which is so beautiful. Annie is a best-selling author who shares how she transcends several traumatic start-over moments. She did the work to overcome and become successful, and now is living a grateful and blessed life. She shares how she retrained her brain, shedding limiting beliefs and replacing with new positive ones. She wants to help others realize their dreams and goals and live their best lives. We all need to build up or bounce back muscles, as we never know what we might have to overcome. Annie shows us how. Annie, I love your quote. No matter how bad today is, there is always a new day. Welcome to Your Purpose and Business podcast.
Thank you, Raquel. It's really nice to be here.
Awesome. So Annie, before we dive further into your life experiences and the many successes that you've had so far, I always ask my guests, just tell us one thing about yourself that is not included in the bio.
I used to be a horse trainer, and I thought I'd be a horse trainer for all my life. So that's one thing. I probably have others as well, but that's not in my bio. It's a little bit in my book, but
that is awesome.
Definitely, I wanted to be an Olympic equestrian.
Oh, wow, awesome. And you know, the funny thing, Annie, just last year I rode a horse in Arizona for the first time ever in my life.
Oh my God.
Learn that you were a horse trainer. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And teacher. I used to teach horseback riding, and yeah, I got a lot of people like you.
Wow, it was so fun though, Annie. But again, Annie, this is all about you. So, you know, this is all about you, girl. So it's just a pleasure and an honor. I just want to say that to have you on. We've been wanting to interview for a long time, and thank you for creating the time to do so. But I want to dive further into that quote first. You know, no matter how bad today is, there is always a new day. And that is so true. And it resonates a lot with me. And I know it's going to resonate a lot with the audience. So if you may, Annie, please speak a little bit to that quote.
Well, that's really the key to my life. I had so many traumatic and grievous. I've been widowed twice. I lived on a boat for many years, which was later lost at sea with all souls on board. And, you know, I was also raised by a really severely ill, mentally ill mother. And so I came kind of damaged. And once the boat that I lived on got lost at sea, and it was so devastating to me, I was very young, you know, I was only, you know, in my very early 20s, and I just felt like my life was over. And I run into so many other people that also, you know, a divorce, a death in the family, even a death of a, you know, precious pet, you know, and people get so blocked. And what I had to do, because I was just like slammed on the floor, like, oh my God, my life is over. And it took me a long time. I think we all really do have to live in grief when grief happens. But, you know, suddenly I started thinking, it's like, I'm only in my 20s. I mean, you know, I have my whole rest of my life. And so that was the beginning of my journey of like, no matter how bad today is, and trust me, I had many other flat on the face experiences that I had to recover from. And so it became my mantra, doesn't matter how bad today is, because there's always a new day.
Yeah, wow. Thanks for sharing that, Annie. That is so powerful. And, it is a mantra that, I've adopted. And I know that many other people out there will adopt because, sometimes we can't tell what life will throw our way,
Exactly.
those, different things, death, grief, or the loss of a spouse, the loss of, a child, addiction. It brings all different things, right? And so it's
Loss of a job,
yes,
your
lost.
house burning down, all of these things can happen. So we
Absolutely.
need to build up our bounce back muscles, as you quoted me
Yes,
on also.
yes, and it is so true, and it's so needed, especially today when there's so many things that's going on in the world, right? We need to learn how to build back our bounce back muscle, as you say. And so I definitely want you to get into that a little bit further on your processes that you've used, that's proven, that you also teach to your clients as well. But before we go there, Annie, I definitely want to ask you, what purpose do you think that you have in this world?
Well, I like to think that I have a lot of purposes. I really care about people. I care about our world. I really am attracted to cultures, and it really causes me a lot of grief how we treat other people and how we just cannot connect and, realize that despite our differences, we're more similar. And we really need to embrace that. And it's the cause of so many ills that we just cannot connect better.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but that's, bottom line. And then the other, and I really am passionate about people that, like indigenous and people that are, poorly represented, in their own countries, and all our past history and everything. And we just need to make amends, and we just need to realize we are all human, and to honor our humanness. And yeah, sorry, this is slightly, but it just came to mind. I mean, I know that you can appreciate, because I know you pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like some of the ancient civilizations had all the answers.
Right.
And so we just like, oh, well, let's just kill them off, anyway, it's hopefully we're making reparations and really learning that you know we're not so brilliant that we can't listen to others and honor others.
Yeah, definitely. Honor is such a big word, because we all relate to each other, no matter how, society, wants us to believe that we're so different, but we are all the same, just different backgrounds, different cultures. But if you look at the core, we all experience the same thing. So
Exactly. We all have to eat, we all have to breathe, we all need water. And that's another reason why we all have to pull together and save this planet. And, and the more divisiveness and everything, but that's not what this is about, but just to, plant the seeds, hopefully,
yeah,
for everybody.
absolutely. And it's very important too, because this is about that as well, Annie, because it is a part of your purpose,
Mhm.
because which leads me into my next question to you, because so many people are living and they still struggle with identifying their purpose. They believe that their purpose is only one thing, which I beg to differ, and I know you do the same, because your purpose is, a myriad of things, and you just share with us some of the things that you believe is your purpose in this world. So take us on a little summarized journey, if you may, a little further on what are some of the things that you're working on today, that you believe is a part of the bigger purpose, your bigger vision in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I'll start with this whole COVID thing.
Yes.
Um, one of the things, because you'll know about me that I lived at sea for many years. And I think I even mentioned earlier that, the boat that I lived on got lost at sea.
Yes.
But it was such a beautiful boat. And in having to go to sleep in a storm, it taught me how to control fear.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, and for everybody, you don't have to go through what I went through in order to learn that over and over. Fear and emotions are just our thoughts. And all we need to do is set those thoughts aside and put a new thought in and work at it, because I'm not saying it's easy. Fear is a very real thing. I'm not taking anything away from it. But if we let it rule our lives, and it's not just fear, it's sadness, it's grief, and I believe in honoring all of those things, but at the same time, we need to move on in life. And I want everybody to live the best life that they can live. And that's my bigger purpose.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Annie. And if you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit of the story? Because I think it's so fascinating, but it's one that is so teaching at the same time. Because I know your story, but if you could tell the audience your story about when you were at sea and the storms that you had to go through and learning how to navigate to get to your destination. Like, speak to that, because I do believe that it's very bold, very courageous to be on the sea
Yeah.
traveling, right, having fun, of course, but also to tell us what that experience was like, especially having to sleep during a storm. How, like, that is
Yeah.
so, I don't know, the word is
Yeah.
crazy to even think, because it's like at any given moment, you could die, right?
Yes. So first of all, I'm going to share some of the good parts of it,
Yeah, sure.
because because it's a beautiful, I mean, living out at sea, and I actually was a celestial navigator. I actually logged 44,000 sea miles through the Pacific. That counts every little time the boat moves, because you have to track in order to know where you are. But I visited so many beautiful places and countries and cultures and islands. And just being out at sea, the longest time I was out at sea any one time was 23 days, no land, no nothing. And but the sea, it's the sea life, the Milky Way. I mean, late at night, on a calm night, with the Milky Way and the universe, I just felt like I could just reach up and pluck a star. And often, not just once or twice, but often dolphins, because I'd be alone late at night on the boat staring at my watch. And dolphins come and match your breath. So
Wow.
you're like in this total symbiotic, they're going, and you just start breathing. And
Wow.
I mean, there's like sometimes when all hell is breaking loose, I just go there.
Mhm.
I go, I wish I could share this with everybody. Um, and just the tropical fish and everything, and it's just amazing. But it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
especially back then, there was no GPS. So I learned how to become a celestial navigator, and luckily I got us to where we're going all the time. But also, constant breakdowns, constant having to resupply, really a lot of work. But it was so beautiful. I loved it. But so one of the things is that the ocean can be so beautiful at one moment, and then just turn into, that you could just be smashed to kindling. This wasn't a little boat,
Right.
and there was many of us on board most of the time.
Yes.
So, but you just go, oh my God, and all of a sudden the waves are just like, going above the mast and everything, and you're just, oh my God. And so being a critical part of the crew,
Mhm.
when I got off my watch, I was going to have to be on watch in a few hours. I just had to go to sleep. Your heart's pounding, the boat's going like this, and you're just like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But I had to learn literally to just set it all aside. And even though I'm going like this in my bunk, but go to sleep, I did. And that really, I don't know if people can put themselves in other situation where, it's kind of a do or die situation, but it just empowers you so much. And that's followed me through my life because, I can just remember. And I really did learn how to set not just fear, but feelings aside. And it's helped me be very productive and
Wow.
pretty successful. So
That is so impressive, Annie, and so amazing. I mean, I don't even know if I personally could do that. Um,
it's not for everyone.
yeah, wow. But that's quite an experience, though, and so humbling too to be out at sea and it's just you. I know there's a crew there, but basically just you and the water,
Yeah,
and trusting the guidance, in order
yeah.
to get to your destination, but also kind of honoring and trusting the sea as well, that it will be good to you, it will bring you to your destination safely.
Never trust.
Never.
I mean, you can never put, so
Yes.
in my time, now there's so many weather equipment and GPS and everything. It's a
Yes.
much safer thing, but still, when you're out at sea, there's so many things that can cause equipment failures. And you're 1,000 miles away from sea. Do
Yes.
you have that part to fix, or did your mast just fall down and now you're 1,500 miles from anywhere? And what are you going to do? So a lot of forethought and thinking and knowing what the ocean can do. And it's a college education, let me tell you.
Wow. Can only imagine. Yeah, scary,
Yeah.
very scary. And thank you for that too, Annie, because I'm like trusting the sea. And you're like, no, hell no, 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 no. There's so many,
No.
things.
Nowadays with the proper equipment, which
Yes.
we had very minimal, and if our batteries went down, we had nothing.
Okay.
So and that would happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
But now you can navigate around the storms and things. But the sea can, even today, it can just pop up, bam, and it's a furious thing that if you're caught in the whirlpool,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good.
It's not good. Yeah, thank you so much, Annie, for sharing that. Shifting gears a little bit,
Mhm.
Annie, tell us about some of your challenges and failures that you've faced in attaining your goals. And it could be any of your goals, career wise, business wise, relationships.
Well, so I mentioned having my severely mentally ill mother, which really hampered me in a lot of ways. I was smart enough, and I knew that I could be somebody, but it ended up that I actually ran away when I was like 12, and
Mhm.
so I missed a whole year of school. And I did come back and graduate from high school, but I never actually finished, or I did go to college, but only here and there. I mainly decided what I really wanted to do and the jobs I really wanted, and I would just focus on learning. And this is for everybody too, because you spend 4 years at school, which if you were really focused on what you really wanted to do, you could just go out and learn and for that job.
Very true.
And so I did this many times because I started over many times as, oh, I think I'll go to this job. And I was just very successful, and I was end up hiring people and everything. And I think we've had a little bit of a conversation about, and at the time, obviously there weren't millennials, but people that had gone to college and had all this study and these wonderful resumes and everything, often they didn't translate into real life.
Hmm.
And so, and then they would go, well, I don't know how to do that. And I will go, dude, or whoever, you
Yeah.
know, I'm your boss. And I've never been to college. And I had to learn all of this on the fly. So you know what? You can either step up or step out.
Exactly, exactly.
Um,
Hmm.
some of them stepped up and others, not so much.
Not so much. And so I know you mentioned your mom and her dealing with mental illness. How did you handle that as a child? I know you said you ran away. If you want to dive a little bit into that story, how also how that has you know built you up and prepared you for life, the real world, is there any correlation there?
I think that there is. And, I still go back and sort of go over this with myself. First, I remember one of the first things that she said to me was, "You came out of me and you were a monster." That's just a prelude of how life started to go. She was a very beautiful woman, and at times she could be very good, and most people just loved her. In fact, nobody realized how severely mentally ill she was until I was in my early teens. So she would just abuse me, and I had other siblings after me. I'm the eldest, but somehow it didn't translate to them. This was just somehow focused on me. And in me thinking about it, I think she felt like I was stronger than her, and she was always trying to take back control from me. And I wasn't having anything to do with it. I got to survive, this is not. But it was also really difficult. Just, we all really need loving mothers and fathers. And fortunately, I did have surrogate people, and it's probably why I am who I am. And, I forgive her completely because mental illness, especially at the time, I still, I am definitely, I should have mentioned as far as my passions and thing, is I really believe that properly taught and given the opportunity, most of us can handle our emotional and mental deviations, but we're not taught anything about that. I mean, it's starting now a little bit, but that's, I think, for me, especially as I grew older and knew I had to, be on my own and take care of myself. I just had to straighten out. But yeah, I ran away because she was chasing me with a butcher knife, and over nothing. And it's like, I got to get out of here. And that was a whole adventure. I do love adventure. I and so and I've learned to really kind of be out there in the world a lot, and it's but I also realize that adventure can only get you so far.
Mm-hmm. And
But I'm obviously I'm living it in order to share with other people who may not be quite as adventurous as I am.
no, absolutely, Annie, because it's important that and thank you so much for sharing that, because a lot of people wouldn't feel that that story, or your experience, I should say, would resonate with a lot of people. But I'm here to tell you that it will, because mental illness is one thing, but to also have a family member, even if you yourself or I'm dealing with some form of mental illness, because I feel like we all have a little bit of
Yeah.
it, especially in the society that we're living in now, and that's just my opinion. But
I concur with you,
yes.
and I think that, recognizing it
Mhm.
empowers us.
It's
But when we feel like things are just not in our control, and that's why I started with, our thoughts and our emotions are what we put in there.
yes.
And so, so even people with pretty, askew thoughts and really are dealing with some severe symptoms,
Mhm.
if they learn how to modulate them, and hopefully they medication and counseling and all of those things work, but
Mhm.
we need to empower them to really also take charge.
Exactly.
And a lot of it is just not wallowing in these thoughts and fears that in a nanosecond you could change. Once it takes work, takes consciousness and
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want, because I know you teach on the retraining part too and how you've helped yourself. But that's so important because I do believe, yes, in support in terms of counseling and
Mhm.
medications as needed, but also the tools that you can use too to learn yourself, to be aware and to learn yourself and know how to implement to get you out of that, whether it's a negative thought or if you're going through some severe symptoms. So tell me, Annie, how did you rise up beyond some of the challenges that you faced? Because you've shared a few with regards to your mom, with regards to, being out at sea, with regards to, you shared a little bit about challenges, with your staff, so share with us your methods, so to speak, if you have one, that you've used to rise up beyond, those challenges or failures.
well, I was giving staff trouble. I wasn't having so much trouble because it was either you step up or you're not doing the job. I'm not here to teach you.
Gotcha.
I mean, yes, I will show you because this wasn't taught in college. But if you keep coming to me and say, I don't know, I don't know, you're out of here.
Yes, yes.
But that's beside the point. But so what I really, and the boat taught me so much, and every bit of my life taught me about problem solving.
Mm,
And even when I had to face that, I had so much negativity and mental. I mean, I wasn't really mentally ill, but I mean, depression is a mental illness, but I was pretty severely depressed at one point, and I got very discouraged because I had already run away and I had lived in the world and I knew everything. And so if anybody would listen to me, I'd be a great person to have come work for you. But I started seeing people's faces just go, and it took me a while, and I realized, I'm not, I don't know everything. I need help from them to move on in life. I better have a different approach.
mhm.
And so that was the beginning of my journey to really change. I had a bad attitude. I had a real chip on my shoulder for sure. And so I had to just really search and find, what was going to help me. And actually, it was just a simple little book that really got me on the right path, which was just do what needs to be done. And that was get up and go do the dishes.
Wow.
You probably heard that before in my other things, but it really worked because I get up and I wash a few dishes and just make it longer and longer and longer. But I also was really good at learning.
Hmm.
And I read everything as a young person and still to this day. And school was too slow for me.
Hmm.
So I would constantly just go to the library and I'd come back to school and ace the test. And oh God, I got some teachers really, really mad.
Yeah.
I go, well, all you're doing is reciting the book. And so I just went and read the book. What do you want to do? So there's good teachers and bad teachers. So I had both. And
Yes.
the good, it was really hard because here I was like cutting in and out of school, but I always wanted to go to the good teachers.
Hmm.
And so I had a very interesting life. Finally, the principal at my high school brought me in because one of my teachers was so freaking mad at me. And he goes, what's going on with you? Because, Mrs. Reedy, she's beyond, she just doesn't know what to do with you.
My
And
God.
I explained
Yes.
my life.
Hmm.
And I said, she's putting a lot of pressure on me to sit here and I can read the words myself, you know. And he laughed. And she was like, had been there for like 40 years. So he
Yes.
goes, well, just between you and I get it.
Mhm.
And then he said, would you be willing to cancel other kids? You know, because you're not the only one that's having issues.
Right.
And I said, yeah. So I've sort of been doing it for a while now, at little bits and little bits, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow, wow. And so you said, what it's humbling. The first thing you said that I found so humbling, is not letting your ego get in the way with regards to your staff, right? And that you
Mhm.
don't know everything. And I really do appreciate that. And I think that we all should, recognize that, because in our world and society where information is so easy to get, because of
Right.
the internet, right? Um, Oftentimes we do feel like we know everything, and we need to know that we don't, and it's okay to be aware. I think that's where the self-awareness came into play.
100%.
Yes. The other thing that you said is you had to problem solve a lot in your life, throughout your life experiences, and believe it or not, Annie, that is a muscle that you have built and continuously built to this day, that has helped you to overcome some of those hurdles that you face as a child, as a young adult, into adulthood now. And if you could share with us at least three strategies or steps or tools or whatever you want to call it, that has helped you to just navigate life, navigate your experiences, especially those hard experiences that kind of knocked you down, and you didn't probably think that you could make it through. And I know you speak about that in your book, Live for a New Day, that I definitely want you to speak further on.
So, you know, one of the things that I'm seeing change, this is a little ahead of what you're asking. I'm going to answer it,
Sure.
but finally school is a little bit catching up. There's major things that I was born in the early 50s,
Mhm.
and we teach these subjects, and we pass certain tests, but we're not teaching problem solving. We're not teaching financial independence, and we're not teaching some of the core thing. We're not teaching about when we're mentally challenged, and everybody has issues. So I hope to be working with more and more people that are working with this, and it's become just like before. When I was retraining my brain, there was no mindfulness and all this
Right.
stuff. But I'd like to see that some things are changing. Other things are going backwards at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I look at Texas. You're supposed to have two sides of the Holocaust.
Right.
Excuse me. Anyway, enough of that. But so really, what I did, and what I think that most people can do, depending on any time you are stuck, or any time you are feeling that, you know, did I really marry the right person? I mean, that's kind of an extreme thing, but so many of us don't. We're taught, go to high school, go to college, get a job, get married, have two kids. And again, that's changing also.
Yes.
But and then people are trapped, and they feel like they have no other choice. Well, I believe that they do. If they really want to look at it, and if they really want to analyze, some people are really good at just bearing things, and yet they're so incredibly unhappy and unfulfilled, and it's sad. And it doesn't let the other person, and also the children are probably suffering as well. So I'm a big advocate of, like, live the life you want to live. And if you're not, maybe you need to make changes, and maybe you can make changes so that you can be happy and cohesive. And to me, this is my telling you this is more important than me telling just my story.
Mhm.
But as far as the 3 key steps or whatever, that I did learn that what I put into my brain is what was going to reflect out of me. And so if I allowed, the more negativity that I allowed into my thinking and into my thoughts, the more that was going to manifest.
Yes.
And so, number one is to really get in control. And and people don't even see it. They don't, I'm often talking to someone and they go, no, my life is perfect. I go, oh, really? Because you're sounding a little angry. And, I heard you just kind of slam your wife,
Mhm.
and I'll just kind of be real direct. And they're like, what? And I go, you need to really look and see, because negativity can cause illnesses, can cause all sorts of things. And there's no way that it causes a positive effect. And that's really hard for us to learn
Yes.
because I have this feeling and I'm going to work through it. And if I have to beat it up, that's what I'm going to do. But instead, if we slow down, it's like, okay, how can I find the right solution for this problem? And so that's huge. And it's really, it doesn't come instantly, but if you really just know to look at yourself when you hear yourself go off, over time, it becomes part of you. I mean, I had the most miserable life in many, many ways. And as you said, I had to start over from nothing. I mean, nothing, homeless, nothing. But I built in the response to where I'm going to look for that new day and I'm going to sail into it. And I would always, when I had to start over, new job, people dying, all of these things, it was always about setting new goals and having goals and dreams. And honestly, I've really realized a lot of them and they still come. In fact, right now, I'm feeling like, the so-called law of attraction is just boom, coming my way. I mean, even when I first met you, I was not in that situation, but now I feel like, wow, I could really try and help people. I can really be happy. I can live in abundance.
Absolutely, Annie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that most people can too. It does take work. I mean, in my book, every few pages or every chapter it takes work because you can't just sit here and let life happen to you or it's not going to be what you want. I mean, just about 100% guarantee. Maybe if you really don't want anything and you really just want to laze about and you have the money to do so, you may be just fine. But if you really have goals and dreams and you don't believe them in a positive way and you're not reinforcing yourself in a positive way, it's likely going to take much longer and harder than if you can really buckle up and be positive.
That is absolutely true. Mhm. Absolutely true, Annie. You said a lot there. So many keys, so many valuable gems. And,
Oh, wow.
I know that, everyone's listening and saying, yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Or you've said something that is thought provoking so that, the listener is listening and say, okay, I need to work on this one. You know what I mean? And
I hope so.
yeah, I'm telling you, I just know because I feel like your life experience, and I know that at times you kind of shy away from your life experiences, and you're just wanting to give the lessons, but I feel like it's the experiences that brings out the lessons in the end, and that is what people want to hear. And Annie, you have an amazing story, and I can't tell you that enough. Because and you have so many teachable moments that it still rings true to how we can live and how we can make changes even in today, right? Live
Yeah.
for a new day, right? Because the
Well,
problems are the same or they're similar, right?
yeah.
But how do we address them, and how do we cope with them and deal with them with each day that comes?
Yeah, so honestly, I have so many stories that sometimes I don't know where to start and stop. When I'm working with people, it sometimes it brings up something I haven't talked about for years. And but it just, I go, this is what this person needs. And thankfully, usually they're going, oh, yeah, you know. Um, so the whole having to go out, this is a huge thing in my life. Because it is possible for people to really change their life. And so one of the things with me is I did have this thing where I always wanted to do what I wanted to do, what I loved. So that's why I started in horse training and teaching riding and taking care of horses. And also then I got into designing clothes. I was a assistant fashion designer in the LA market. And that
Very
was,
nice. I didn't know that, Annie. Very nice.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's actually got a huge story to it too. But um, and so every time I had to, go do something, it was just like and this is for everybody, you get to design what you want to do. And so I just kept rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, so that didn't work out and I'm flat on the floor, but all I need to do is pick myself up and figure out, what I want to do, how I'm going to get there. And having only a high school degree when everybody was like, not, every resume that didn't have like this great college education on, would just go in the dumpster, and I fortunately I got really creative, and because I had had an adventurous life, and I could show how, I went to this country and I had to rebuild the boat this way, and resupply or whatever was going to be a hook for that job that I wanted. I just emphasized it. So you want somebody that just went to college and doesn't know what they're doing, or do you want somebody that's really lived in, yeah. So I could go on and on about stories, but I'm not sure we have the time. I'm going to give everybody my book if they text me and give me their address and email.
Listen, Annie, you have so much valuable experiences and lessons that are practical to share. And I even have your lovely book here, so I'm gonna hold it up for you.
Thank you.
I know that the listeners are not seeing it, but her book is called Live for a New Day by Annie Evans.
And then now it has bestseller on it.
Oh,
So
oh my God, congratulations, Miss.
Raquel got an early edition. So
Yes, yes, I did, and she's a bestseller, which is amazing. And it says, "Live for a new day. No matter how bad today is, there is always a new day." So Annie, share with us how our audience can get in contact with you, how they can purchase this book, and how they can reach you.
yeah, I'm very personable. I will give everybody my cell phone, and I will send you a book either by email or by post. If you text me at 310-621-0456. And if you have a question or a concern that I can answer quickly, I'd be happy to. Um, Random calls, I'm on Zoom and I'm too busy all the time, but I will definitely, and I will then also keep you posted on my future, my TV show and everything else. Now, the book is available on Amazon, and I never raised the price on Kindle, so it's 98 cents.
Mhm.
And so you can go to Amazon, look for A New Day, Annie Evans. But and also I have a couple websites. I'm really working on them right now because I'm redoing everything for my TV show and pulling all of this together. And I will be having courses and all sorts of things. So if you want to keep in touch, you know, you don't have to pay attention or do anything. I'm going to be giving a lot of content for free because that's what I'm all about, you know. Um, and so the text is the best way. That's how I'm gonna, you know, build my. I have thousands of contacts. Don't worry about that. But I'm trying to focus on, you know, who comes in when and everything. So getting the text will help me, um, you know, keep you in touch as things change and evolve.
Yeah, lovely. And congratulations, Annie, on your new show. I can't wait
I can't wait either.
for
I'm
you.
really excited. I mean, the group of people. I mean, if you read I mean, Les Brown. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's pretty exciting. So,
And I'm
yeah.
sure that, I'll be, I'm having you on once it's released. I'm excited for
And
you.
I'll have you on once it's going also.
Oh, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Annie. And
yeah.
it's always been a pleasure to connect with you. I love you so much, Annie, from the
And you as
first
well.
day
I
we
mean,
met.
we got to spend some precious time together. Yeah,
Yes, 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 guys. There's a back end story to all
yeah.
of this, but I want to just say Annie is such a lovely lady, and I definitely want you to go out and support her. Everybody needs to read this book, Live for a New Day. I use this mantra every single day to know that no matter what, that it doesn't matter what's going on in my life, even if I can't deal with it at the moment, I know that there is
Mhm.
another day that I can address it and I can get through, and because life goes on, right? And so, Annie, just before we close, I always ask everyone, is there some sort of routine or ritual that you sort of adopted throughout the years that gets you going for your day to start your morning?
Well, it changes, but mostly because I didn't always feel this way, but mostly it's gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and right now, I don't know how long I'll have this house. It is my house, but I just go outside and it's usually beautiful here, and I just am going, oh, I'm so blessed and grateful. And I try and spend, you know, a good at least 20 minutes, you know, just looking around and going, you know, maybe I don't need that, but oh, it's so nice to have it. and you know, the attitude of gratitude, it pulls you together and it attracts uh you know, more and more. You know, now I remember a few years back when I had nothing. You know, and it's now I'm looking, good, what would I do if I had to move and I have all this stuff?
Yes.
But it's all stuff that I've collected all over the world and it's precious to me, and so no complaints. um and I'm always trying to do more exercise, and so I kind of am a little behind on that, but I do some every morning, and I try and do throughout the day, take breaks, and I have this really great shaking machine.
Yes.
Um, so, but I honestly, I just was with John Azaroff on a webinar and everything, and he's going, okay, I can't run a marathon, can you? No way, you know. And then he goes, let's just commit that, you know, a year or two from now, we're going to run a marathon. And I didn't quite go there, but I did realize that I better like really take care of myself and work towards, along that line.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Annie. Gratitude, it's definitely needed for us to practice that and appreciate all the blessings. And of course, exercise is a part of
Yeah.
our health and
Yeah.
wellness, right? And so again, Annie, it has been, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that gratitude and the attitude of it really blocks negativity. So just remember to
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's major key, guys. Major
Yeah.
key. And
It
so
is.
it's a pleasure to have you on the
Thank you.
Your Purpose and Business podcast. And as always, guys, remember, be good to yourself, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to raquelwalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.